This video walks you through one of the most important sections of the back office, budgets. This is where you can set up your target budgets, track your real-time spending across all accounts, both for labor hours and replacements, compare it directly to your service revenue. The budget section is divided into 4 areas: service time, commute time, other time, and replacements. The first 3 focus on different types of time spent on each account, while the replacements tab covers material and plant replacement costs. Service time includes the hours your team spends on site performing regular service. Commute time shows how much time is spent traveling to and from each site, a cost that is often overlooked. If you want to better understand how commute time is captured and allocated, we recommend watching the video called Understanding and Editing the Timesheets, where we explain how automatic commute allocation works in detail. Other time includes hours spent by your team on account-specific activities that are not a part of the regular service, such as additional paperwork, upsell proposals, or informal consultations. And replacements are straightforward. This is where you budget replacement costs per site and per service, track actual spending, and compare it to the revenue for that account. In each of these sections, you can choose the time period you want to review. This can be last quarter, year to date, multiple years, or any other custom range that fits how you monitor performance. If you choose a date interval in one of the cost categories, it will be automatically remembered if you switch to another one. By default, you will see all active accounts and services, with the option to include inactive ones if needed. You can also filter by service type, for example, to see only interior or only exterior services. Let's start with service time, keeping in mind that the commute time and other time tabs follow the same logic. In the time budgeting sections, you will see 2 parts: budgeting in time and budgeting in money. Both show your plan, meaning what you intended to spend, your fact, meaning what was actually spent, and the deviation percentage that helps you quickly spot overspending accounts. You might wonder why both options, in money and in hours, exist. In short, budgeting in hours tells you whether the work has been efficient, while budgeting in money, as a percentage of revenue, tells you whether the pricing for an account still makes sense. Both approaches are common in the industry. Ideally, your actual costs should stay within a certain percentage of revenue. However, if pricing has not been updated in a long time, or if an account was priced using a simple rule of thumb, a revenue percentage may not reflect what it truly takes to service that site. Another approach is to budget service time in hours based on the plant mix. This is often more realistic, but it usually relies on averages and does not fully account for plant-specific needs or client complexity, such as access time or on-site interaction. That is why our job costing system supports both approaches side by side. Comparing them gives you valuable insight into what may be driving margin leaks. If the hours-based budget is met but the revenue-based budget is exceeded, the account is likely underpriced. If both budgets are exceeded, the scope was probably underestimated, and margins can only be improved by increasing revenue or reducing time spent on site. Let's start with budgeting your time in hours. The first step is checking the time period you want to review. Year to date is the most common option, but quarterly reviews or multi-year views can also be useful when you want a broader picture of account performance. For each account, the fact column shows the actual time spent in hours during the selected period. Next, you need to enter how much time you plan to spend on that account. Annual time budgets usually depend on the plant mix. Most companies have a target service time for different plant sizes, so knowing how many plants are on site and how many service visits are planned will define how much time a technician is expected to spend there over a year. And by the way, we are currently working on functionality that will calculate this estimated service time automatically as soon as you add inventories. To add a budget in hours, click the Edit button. This opens a pop-up where you enter the amount and define the period it applies to. This is important for accurate calculations because the system needs to know which target was valid at which time. If you add a new value effective today, the system automatically creates a previous period and assumes the same value applied before, which you can adjust if needed. Once your annual target is set, the system calculates how many hours should have been spent during the selected period and shows the difference between plan and reality. The annual target is always the base, and the plan is recalculated proportionally for shorter or longer periods, also taking into consideration which budget was valid in which time period. In the percent column, you can see how close your actual time is to your plan. A value close to 100% means they are aligned. Values below 100%, shown in green, mean you are within budget. Values above 100%, highlighted in red, mean more time was spent than planned. As your team continues logging time, these values update in real time, which makes regular check-ins an effective way to stay on top of performance. Now let's look at budgeting in money and comparing costs to revenue. The first value to enter is service revenue. For now, revenue is added manually. We are working on integrations with popular accounting systems that will soon allow revenue to be pulled in automatically, even when your pricing changes over time. To add revenue for a specific account and service, click the Edit button and define the period during which that value is valid. This works the same way as setting up time budgets. You can define date intervals however you like. If pricing is updated annually or quarterly, it usually makes sense to match those intervals. If pricing rarely changes, you can set it once and update it only when needed. Next, set the target percentage of revenue you plan to spend on this category of time. You can also do that by period. This is especially handy if you are actively reviewing your pricing and your margin control. Once revenue and the target percentage are set, the planned cost for the selected period is calculated automatically. To calculate the actual cost, the system needs two additional inputs: hourly rates for each team member, and overtime rules if your company uses them. Hourly rates are managed in the People section and are visible only to users with admin rights. Overtime rules are defined in job settings. Once those are set, you will see the actual cost of the time spent, along with the deviation percentage, following the same green and red logic. Keeping this value close to 100% means your spending is aligned with what you planned. To budget and track other categories of time, simply switch to the corresponding tabs. The logic remains the same. There is also a dedicated tab for replacements budgeting. This one is simpler, as both planning and spending are tracked in money. If you entered your revenue in one of the tie tabs, the replacement tab will have it too. Then, add the target percent of revenue you are planning to spend on replacements annually. And voila! All your numbers based on the date interval you selected are right in front of you. The plan shows what you intended to spend. The fact shows what has already been spent. The available amount shows how much budget remains. The deviation percentage, highlighted in green or red, makes it easy to spot accounts that are under or over budget. One final tip: to quickly identify problem accounts, sort any budget section by the deviation percentage. This works across all time categories and replacements and immediately surfaces the accounts that need attention. If you are new to budgets, a great place to start is with one key account or the service where you suspect the biggest overspending. Setting up the budgets across several spending categories and reviewing how you're doing in terms of actual spending will help you understand how the system generally works, and then you can budget and monitor all the other accounts much more easily. We hope this tool, combining real-time field data with proven budgeting and job costing practices, helps you stay fully in control of your service margins. Start small, stay curious, and enjoy the clarity.